Yeah, man, put you on
You
mute
know, we coming in hot off the flame, baby. Shoot.
Hey, that's what I was trying to do. Come hot off the press myself. What you
Yeah,
mean?
we coming hot off the flame, baby. Shoot. Hey, this is your breakfast right here, shoot.
Oh man, I've been already ate a couple, a whole loaf of bread messing with you
Yeah. That's what's up. That's
Yes, sir.
what's
Yes,
up.
sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
yeah, that's what it is, man. So, King, what you think about that discussion this morning, man?
Oh man, hey, I'm still sitting here marinating on it right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's gangster, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
Yes,
so,
sir.
so now you know what it's talking about when it says, I'm gonna let you open up something, man. Pull up Isaiah chapter 1, and I'm gonna let you open up something so I can show you something about what we was talking about. All right. Shout out to all of my brothers and sisters out there in social media land. This is indeed a great day to be alive. This is a day that the Most High Heavenly Father made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. We are practicing now. We're practicing on trying to live our best life. So, shouts out to all of our brothers and sisters in Kansas City, Missouri that choose to come out to the to our happy hour set and listen to some good music. Is much appreciated. And shouts out to all the brothers and sisters. Like I say, shouts out to all of my Islamic brothers, all of my Christian brothers, all of my brothers is in Israelite heritage, all of my law, statute, commandments, and judgment keepers. And shouts out to all of my brothers and sisters that have confessed that Jesus is Lord. Yeshua is cure in the book. And I just chuckled at it. I just hear what we got. Okay, let's go see here. Okay, I'm off Spectrum 2G. Let's go to my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi. Okay, my Wi-Fi is now connected. Yeah, okay, that's good. So I just had to make sure I'm gonna send some Wi-Fi connection, probably make sure that we was connected. Shouts out to you, John. Yeah, no, I said Isaiah first chapter. So yeah, we're dealing with real life over here. We don't deal with that science fiction mess. We're dealing with everyday life, you know. We just got a phone call a couple of days ago that one of my little nieces uh, son just got his face shot off, and he didn't pull through, and he didn't make it. And we got another phone call a couple of days ago where the matriarch of our family had got rushed into the hospital, and the word my big cousin came back with was that it didn't look good. It didn't look good. Well, she pulled through, but he wasn't able to pull through. Nevertheless, when these things happen, they bring our minds in contact with things that are important in this life. Some things we ain't gonna get a second chance at. So we're gonna look at some things dealing with real life. And me and Young King, I got King Rashard on the line with me on today, and I have him to do some reading. We're gonna talk about something that's serious. We're gonna talk about something that's serious, and I'm telling you, I'm warning y'all now. If anybody new to this channel, this is not Sunday morning. It's not Sunday morning. This ain't about being politically correct. This is about being able to identify and come face to face with the truth that's staring us in the face on a daily basis. So sometimes it might get a little raw. If you can't stand the heat, turn the video off. Get out the kitchen. But we aiming to live our best life, and so we're gonna live our best life when we get a good understanding of what it is that we're dealing with and things that we're facing. So
That's right.
so let's read it. You're talking about consideration, all right? First verse, first chapter.
Yes, sir. It says, the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Ezra, Uzra, or Jonathan,
Uzziah.
Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, kings of Judah. It says, hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth. For the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doeth not know. My people doeth not consider.
You see that word right there?
Yes, sir.
So you talking about when we don't consider things. And to consider something is to come face to face with the reality of whatever it is that you're looking at. And so, King Rashard and I were having a conversation on this morning, and we were dealing with some things and showing how our brothers are having some real tough times for real. And so, we're having some tough time. Now, don't take nothing away from our sisters. Our sisters can have some tough times too, but we struck out into an area of consideration. But I'm saying to myself, you know, if you ain't consider the sin in your own life, you know, you got to be able to be honest with that. You got to be able to be honest with where you at. You know what I mean?
Yes,
sometimes when you start being honest with where you at and considering the things that's wrong with your life, you know what I mean? It causes you to start moving by a truth that gets on other people's nerves. And so we start just using the example of home life, of a marriage, you know. And I'm saying, you know, when a man is honest with himself, come face to face with the truth, you know, that you know what, why is it we can't get along? Why is we always got to be arguing? Or why is it that you know what, I can't say nothing without you going the other way? You see, when we start considering things for what they really are and start looking at it for what it really is, then you got to deal with it. But people don't always want to deal with what it is that they see. You see? And so I'm saying for the person that had the ability to consider things or consider where they at in their life, you know, yeah, you might get on other people's nerves, but guess what? God could be pleased with you. Of course, why next person might not feel like, see, and the thing is that when you start considering things in your own life and start trying to operate by truth that you need to operate by, when it gets on other people's nerves, the reason why I get on their nerves is because they don't want you challenging them to be better than they can be. So anytime you start dealing with somebody else or challenging somebody else according to your consideration of your life and where you want your life to be, well, they get mad at you. And they much rather see you wallowing in the mud than for you to be an overcomer. You know why? Because if you start overcoming things, now you can challenge them. And you challenge somebody else, they're not going to like it. But at the end of the day, you can call me ragged in a can of sauerkraut, and I can deal with anything that anybody got to say about me. But I'd be danged if I walk through life pretending to be somebody that I ain't, doing things that I know I ain't got no business doing. And even those things that I do that I know I ain't got no business doing, I got to be considerate of that if I'm ever going to be one to overcome those things. But some people don't want you to overcome. You see? So we start dealing with some issues because the first start of any ministry, any building, anything starts in your house. It starts in your house. So you know, so we start looking at some things, considering some things, and I said, now wait a minute. I tell King Rashard that sometimes I have these dreams in my sleep, right? And either I'm in some place on the moon preaching to aliens or something, or I got people asking me questions. Nevertheless, it's taking place in my sleep, and I'll be answering it. And every now and then, I'll wake up and I'll remember. And so I'm telling King Rashard that I'm remembering that some young brothers was asking me questions about marriage. And I was telling them, I was saying, you know, okay, listen, you better consider some things, man. You better consider some things. I said, because you know what? At the way that it's going now, you know, it's probably better off that you don't get married. Now, I ain't saying that's, you know what, we know God instituted marriage. But we ain't never had the right idea of marriage in the first place. And so what I'm saying, here's some things that you can consider. Okay, man, if you're out here fornicating, you can get a different woman every day. You can satisfy yourself. You can sow your wild oats over and over again with an unlimited supply. I said, but when you get married, buddy, you'll be holding your willy in your hand for 2-3 times out the week. You know what I'm saying? I said, and it don't make no difference what time she come in. It's too early. It's too early. I just got home. I'm too tired. My stomach hurt. I don't feel like it. I said, but you take the same woman that's married that don't want to be sexual with her mate. You take that same woman and release her to singlehood, and she'll be having sex out of both of her draw legs. Listen, man. Hey, listen. I ain't telling anybody. You know what? Hey, it's what it is. It's what it is, and you know what? And you know what? It is not something said about sisters. It's something said about the house itself. Period. Because if you go and get married to a man, why would you want to go and get married to a man that you can't receive no instruction by? That's something to be considered. Before you decide to get married, you need to ask yourself, sister, a question before you get married. Do I love instruction? Do I love being told what to do? King Rashard, how many sisters you think before they get married, they ponder, they consider that question right there?
Hey, about 5%.
You know what? I love instruction. I love being told what to do. You know what I mean? So these are some of the things that got to be considered, because what happens is that we get married, all these things enter into play, and next thing you know. So that oneness that God talking about, it ain't exemplified at all. It's not exemplified, you know? And sexuality is important for a man. You see? Sexuality is important for a man. I don't want to hear about nothing. I don't care about nothing. You know what I'm saying? When it's time for me to get naked and release Willie, I don't want to hear nothing. I'm tired. Well, quit the job then. Because if the job sending you home too tired to tend for me, we got a problem. Well, it's too early. I just got through the door. Can't I get time and sit down and rest? Yeah, well, you can sit down and rest, and you can rest right here on me. Well, I'm cooking now. I'm cooking now. Well, you bring a stool in the kitchen and bend over then, because at the end of the day, men have to take a back seat. And we're the last thing when it comes to the most important thing dealing with marriage for a man is sexuality. So the man had to end up waiting all the way into the wee hours of the night, and then you sleep. That ain't no good. But at the same time, you have an expectancy that because we married, a man ain't supposed to do nothing different. But he can't challenge you in that area to put him first. So I said, I told brother, I said, listen, I told brother in my sleep, I said, man, listen. I said, when you single, you can get pussy when you can't get a gallon of gas and don't even drive a car, baby. But when you get married, it's something completely different. The woman you married, she might be head over heels over you for the time that y'all got married, for whatever reason that you was married. But I'm telling you, somewhere along the line, it seemed like that they lose the desire for you. They ain't attracted to you. They don't have no affection for you. They don't come on to you. And you know what? This is marriage, period. And ask me how I know. Because when you look at the divorce rate of our people, it's through the roof. When you look at the family structure, marriage, a man and a woman, children, 15%. Out of 100% of the people, 15%. That shows you just how many people stay together. You see? And what does Proverbs say? That he who loves instruction loves wisdom.
Yes, sir.
So then you got to ask yourself, how many wise wives do you think we have? How many of our wives love to be instructed by their husbands? If you had to put a percentage on it, what could you say? I know I might have some sisters on the line. Y'all can speak for yourself. Tell me if you're a sister on this line and you love to be instructed by your husband. Put a 7 up in there. If you're a sister on this line and you got the mindset, well, who is he that he should be my instructor? That I should just have to listen to him. If you feel like you don't love to be instructed by your husband, put a number 1 up in there. Let's see how many real people we got that can really consider these things that stare us in the face?
That's the main question right there. That's the main.
Yeah, it is mean. Let's see what we're gonna get back. Let's see what we're gonna get back. Okay. I know what we're gonna get back, and we're about to read it right now. Watch what we get back. Watch what we get back. Watch what we get back. This is Essene. This is Ebionite, Essene, Nazareth, Yirmiyahu. That's a two-way street. Marriage is a job, a duty, commitment. Marriage is based on promises. Rational emotions should not be the basis of marriage. It is a duty, and I agree wholeheartedly. So when we start talking about considering things, we need to start considering things before we do it. And it is a two-way street. However, I was basing this based on some questions that some young men had asked me when I was in my sleep, because I want them to consider what they're going into when they get ready to go into marriage. Because this is the one that okay, for all of my married men on the line, if you're a married man on the line, put a number 1 up there. If you're a married man and you on the line, put a number 1 on there. Yep. Put a number 1 on there. If you're a married man on the line, put number 1 up there. Elder Maniel, he said he's a married man. He got 1. Dante Baruch Yehuda Foreman, he got 1. He's a married man. Where are my married brothers at? Don't be ashamed. Stand up and be counted. Put your number 1 up there. If you're a married man, put a 1 up there. Put a 1 up there. Because the next question that I'm going to ask to the married man is that being that you are married and being that God gives sex to a married couple as a vehicle to bind them together, here's the next question I'm going to ask. If you had to say, let's see here, how can I put this? I want to put this in a way to where it sticks, like a dart stick on a dartboard. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yirmiyahu was saying that it's a two-way street about losing sex drive. Okay, but now it could be a two-way street, but now some things are not balanced. See, the reason why I'm looking at this is because a vagina is hungry and it have to be fed. You see, and so the chances of it losing its hunger are slim to none, except when it comes to marriage. Because it's easy. It's easy for you to lose it when it comes to marriage. You know what I'm saying? But you take that same married sister and you release her in the singlehood and you watch that thing get hungry all over again. Now, here's what I want to ask the brothers. If you married and God gives you your own wife, that means that when it comes down to men, they define love by our sexuality. I don't need no rose. I don't need no flower. You don't need me no card. You want to get my attention, you reach over there, you reach out and touch me. Now we're talking. So I want to ask my brothers that are married, how often? I can't really say how often because I don't want to put people in the place to where they're not able to be honest. But let's say out of 10 days, and you got 10 days, that means that a brother can have sex every single day. He can have sex every single day. Because guess what? Check this out. Let's interject this before we get started. You got Hims, you got Viagra, you got Blue Chew, you got Cialis, you got all these things and an explosion of them on the internet, and men are eating these things up like Skittles, and some hungry vagina is being filled up. We're in fornication though. Let me see a man with a bottle of Viagra or some Blue Chew or something like that at home in the midst of his marriage. let's say he eat one of them things every single day. Out of 10 days, how many days do you think he's going to have an outlet for his willing? Out of 10 days, if a man got a sex drive and he can have sex 10 days straight in a marriage, because see, he can have sex 10 days straight if he's single. If he's fornicating, even if he had to pay a prostitute, he can have it. He can have it as often as his flesh raise up. But when he married, how many times in 10 days would there be an outlet for a man's sexual drive and sexual passion? Ebonite Asim Nazarite Yemi Yahoo says, 10 days. I'm having sex out of all 10 days. Well, baby, let me tell you something. Your wife is an exception to the rule. Because that is not the marriage that we are seeing right now. If that thing was out there like it is now, our marriage rate would be at 98%. And so, you're exception to the rule. You're exception to the rule, baby. And you need to put the ancient text up. You need to put the you need to put the Nazarite books up. You need to put the Essene books up, and you need to pull out some simplistic nuggets on marriage so brothers can see how they every time that they sex drive rise up, that they can be replenished through their women. Yep. Say Viagra. So you know. We want our sisters to understand this, because you know what? You have a lot of men that's going to go and cheat on their wives, and then their wives are going to feel like they have done them wrong. Do you know that I know some brothers that come to me and say that they have not had sex with their wife for 5 months, for 3 months? And I say, well, what the hell are you still doing with her? Then you're just going to waste your life like that? Do you have any idea what sexuality means for a man and what comes out of him, the frustration that comes out of him when he has sex and when he don't have sex? Look, all of that weight and pressure on the world, now it goes to another level, because the number one thing on his mind, he gets denied for. Man, that's something. And so if you don't consider these things, okay, so let's say you consider them, and now you're going to talk to your wife about it. How you think that's going to work out, King Rashard?
It's going to be all bad. It's going to be all bad.
How you think that's going to work out? You know what I'm saying? So I was just thinking about that on this morning, and so I wanted to show brothers is that we have never even understood marriage. We have never understood marriage, and even the marriages that we have now are not marriage. They're not marriage. They're not marriage.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you why they're not marriage. Because if you ever fornicated, if you ever had sex before marriage, you ain't married. I mean, you married, but your marriage our marriages are according to the rudiments of men. I know we went before the preacher and, you know, the Hebrew guy got together and married us and all that. Our marriages are for the rudiments of men. They're not the marriage that God means for us to have. And so basically what we do is we try to do the best that we can to live our lives together. But in most cases, our marriages are simply a form of us not wanting to be alone and wanting to live our life with somebody. Because, you know what, how can you know, if two going to be one, wherever one thing moves, you know, when one thing, if it's one, it's all moving the same direction. How often is a man and a woman moving in the same direction as far as their thought growth? You see, because if God give man leadership and say, you the head, wherever the head think, the body's going to automatically carry out because the head is moving in that direction. Do you think that that's how our marriages operate?
No.
Our marriages don't operate like that, huh?
No.
Why not? Then just imagine if you got a head and a body, and the head is going this direction, and then the body turns and go do something else.
That's a headless horseman, man.
Well, see, that's marriage. That's what we got. You see, that's what we got. You know what I'm saying? And so I figure when we can consider certain things, even things when we don't have them right, we can at least understand why we are doing it. Man, the average person don't even want to admit the fact that, you know what, I'm only married with this woman because of this. I'm only with this man because of this.
Right.
See, we won't consider and be honest about what it is. You know, I married this person because I want to be right in the eyes of God, and I don't really want to be fornicating. But I'm married to a woman that she don't give me the same thing back that I give her. I'm married to a man, he don't give me the same. I'm married to a man that don't treat me like I should be treated. I'm married to a woman that don't do this, don't do this. Yet we married. And when we consider these things, we can be honest about it. And if you can be honest about it, you'll have a greater understanding of what it is that you mean to accomplish behind the situation. Instead of us, what we do, we'll let frustration build up, and next thing you know, we in divorce court, only guess what? To repeat the process. The same process all over again.
Yes, sir.
You see? Now, when I met this woman, oh, we was on a rendezvous, boy. We was on a rendezvous. For the first year, we was doing it in the backseat of the car. It was exciting. We was in the park up under shade tree. It was exciting. Went hotel room to hotel room. It was exciting. Did it at her house, did it at my house, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in the basement, hanging over the banister, swinging from the chandelier. We done it every way imaginable. Oh, it was wonderful. Oh, man, I got married to this woman now. I'm holding my willie every day. What happened to that desire? What happened? You know what happened to it?
Right.
See, when it come down to fornicating, it's exciting. When it come down to marriage and what would be good in the eyes of God, it don't seem so pleasant no more. Oh, shoot, all you want to do is have sex. All you want to do is have... Damn, don't you? That's the mind of a man. Dang, before we got married, that's all you wanted to do. You're the one unbuckling my pants. You know what I'm saying? You waking me up out my sleep. You the one was doing all that, putting your tongue in my ear and all that mess. You was the one that was doing all that before we got married. You know what I'm saying?
That's straight up, right?
So it's like, can't we just be real? Because you know what? We got these chat lines now with our young men. Our young men, they all grouped up together, 12 years old to 17. They grouped up together. They got all these weapons. God knows where these weapons come from. And they literally killing each other for a sport, as though it's a game. And what's going to happen, it's going to be a whole gulf in between our people from a generational standpoint. No wonder why 7 women going to take hold of one man, because through this particular generation, these young kids, they killing each other so much that you're going to have a real shortage of men. And one of the reasons why they're in that condition is because we ain't found a way to stay with each other. And unless we start considering these things, we're not going to be able to do it. And I don't know what it is about just being honest with where people are at and where we at in our life. Hey, I'm a man. I got a wife. I got to have the same conversation.
Right.
Please, it ain't no worse crime that my wife can commit against me than for me to be horny and built up with passion and she want to go to sleep.
Right.
Or she want to tell me she's tired. There ain't no greater crime that you can commit against me. Because in my mind, you expect me to take care of you. That mean the job don't mean crap.
Right.
I don't take no backseat to no job. That means that that if something got you so tired to where you can't fulfill your need that I have of you, whatever that thing is, it need to go. You see, whatever it is, that means that if you don't want to have your laundry, that's like that's a trip to Disneyland. You mean to tell me I got to take a back seat to laundry? You see, these are the greatest crimes that can be committed against a man. And women need to understand that in a man's mind, he looking at these things from that standpoint. Hold on 1 second. Don't go nowhere, y'all. It's got to be considered. I don't take no back seat. I got to wait till the TV show go off. Really?
Right.
And then, if I don't want to, and I raise up, now I got a problem. I'm tripping.
Right.
Listen, sister, I'm telling you, because you know what? Some men gonna do what God say, and they just gonna love their wife no matter what. Okay, you know what? It's all good. But there's some men that say, oh, you feel like that? Oh, the laundry's more important to me? Okay, all right, okay, I got something for you. They gonna feel like that? Oh, you think that's more important to me? Oh, I gotta wait till your TV show go off? Oh, all right, I'll be right back. Then when your TV show go off, and then you ready, and you find out, no, you can keep it. I don't want it. Now, he's tripping. He's tripping. No. You see, God give women and men the same charge. That man got to love a woman no matter what stupidity she find herself in. He can't just throw her away or throw her out the window. But he mean the same thing for a sister. That you need to have respect for this man as the authoritative figure in the home. Whatever he say is law. As long as it don't lead you against God. When he speak, you are to listen. And when he give instruction, you are to follow that instruction. And you got a made up mind that when he speak, I ain't listening. And when he speak, I ain't hearing instruction. Then he ought to have the right to throw you out the window. He ought to have the right to get rid of you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, sir.
And this is kind of the issue with our marriages. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't consider certain things that's required of us before we go into them. Now, if I can find you before you become a wife and you promiscuous and you know what I'm saying, highly sexually motivated and all of those things are what captivate my attention. All those things are what bring a man to the place to where he chooses you. And then the very thing that he chose you for, you turn the corner over. But you still supposed to be entitled to all the things that he as a husband is supposed to do. Why you don't want to assume no responsibility from a wife. See, men don't need much. Men don't need much. Men can say, you know what, give me some food, give me some booty, and we good. I break a leg and pull a muscle. I take care of everything you need to take care of. You just give me them two things without no hassle, you know what I mean? And baby, the sky's the limit for you. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. So I still never got no answer to my question. I said, if a man out of 10 days, and 10 days a man was horny. Come on, brothers, I need you to be honest about this. 10 days a man was horny. How many of those days do you think he'd go to sleep with a hard willy?
I told you my answer, man. I'm going from a balance standpoint. I'm going to say 3 to 4.
So you're going to say 3 to 4 days, you're going to get shot down for the laundry, shot down from the tire, shot down from the job, shut down for the TV show. 3 or 4 of them days. Hey, well, you know what? 3 or 4 days, I can live with that. You batting 1,000. 3 or 4 days.
Oh, that ain't me, but but I get it. But that's
You
what
see?
I'm gonna be honest.
You see, Yoshiyahu say he just go get high. Well, a lot of us men do it because you got to do something. But you know what? Even when you go do those things, one thing that you cannot override is sexual frustration. Because sexual frustration will give you an attitude. I don't know about other people, but look, times I experienced that, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm telling you out the gate, sleep or not. I'm telling you right now. Hey, I ain't even no need of talking to me tomorrow. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. Let's just keep it real. Ain't no need of you wondering why I got an attitude tomorrow, why I'm running around here, you know what I'm saying? I ain't speaking or avoiding whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because when a man's sexually frustrated, he don't want to hear none of that. He don't want to hear none of that. Period. You see? And it's rare. Because if you do a woman like that one time, you'd be too tired. And she's horny, her hormones is running, and you too tired for her, she'll never let you live it down. Be too tired for her. You know, be doing something. Let the laundry come before her. When that vagina get hungry, you let the laundry come before that. And when that vagina is hungry, you now you want to go in there and cook a full course meal and watch what happens. See, it's the same thing, but the thing is that we dealing with what ain't marriage. We're dealing with what ain't marriage.
Right.
Now let's deal with. Oh yeah, boy. She'll say you cheated in a minute. You don't love her no more. Next thing she making sarcastic remarks. Yeah, you seeing somebody, you tipping out on me. You know, well, okay, if that be the case, I got to hold my Willie 6 days out of 10. And then the fourth one time is cause you want it. The other 3 times I become a charity case. Man, I just gave you some yesterday. Damn, I thought it was mine. You don't give me nothing that belonged to me. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? So, sisters, you better consider it. You better consider it. Because if you can get out there and you can fornicate with men, and you can fornicate with men, and when you fornicating, every time a man come around, you ready for him. You ready for him. You ready for him. You got everything dialed up for him and everything. But when you get married, marriage is like a hard work. I mean, sex is like a hard work. Sex is something that's inconvenience. You know what I'm saying? Men got to go to bed jacking off and all this type of stuff. Got pussy laying right next to him and got to whack off. See, all these things put a man's mind in a certain place to where you really doomed and don't even realize it. So, sisters, you want to consider these things before you get a man. And yes, grant you, sometimes men lose their sex drive. I don't think that men lose their sex drive. I think that men just abuse their body so much fornicating that they get incapacitated or that they become impotent. You see? I don't think that men lose their sex drive like that. I think that we give all of our strength away fornicating with the wrong women. You see? And then for sisters, if sisters ain't out there fornicating, then that means that their sex drive can build up. And when they do get a man that desires to be with them, their sex drive explode. I mean, you can't get enough of him. You crawling all over him like a little cat or something. You know what I'm saying? Hey, men love that. Men love women when they do them like that. But when men do women like that, it's like, oh, shit, God, give me a break. Give me a break. It's just all over me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah. Oh, that's my babe. Nah, that's Gwen. Yeah, so okay. So that's what it is. All right, King Rashard, talk to the brothers and sisters. Y'all go over what we're going to go over, and then I'll read it when I get back.
All right. We're going to take our running with the book of Yeshua. I'll start at chapter 30. I'm just going to pick up and start reading, and you're going to pretty much come on in with me, because it's a lot to read so we can get some understanding. All right. Chapter 1. Well, chapter 30, verse 1. All Jerusalem spoke the name of Yeshua for good or for evil, even according to their own hearts. And the multitudes came out from the city daily to hear him. But they which ruled in the temple or governed in the palaces grew uneasy because of him. For all the people loved him, and all which the master said and taught did the people speak amongst themselves in the synagogue and in the market. Excuse me. It says, and there arose again against the Lord in secret chambers a multitude of plots and intrigues, for many conspired to kill him. On a certain day, when Yeshua was again in the city teaching, there came unto him they which were of the Sadducees, which believed not in the life after death. But the Sadducees scorned the traditions and the teachings of the elders, for they believed with strictness the law of Moses only. And coming unto the Lord, they took thought whereby they might ridicule him before people. And they spoke unto him, saying, Master, what think you? For Moses commanded that if a man die, having no children, then should his brother marry. Hold on, let me start that over. He said, Master, what think you? For Moses commanded that if a man die, having no children, should his brother marry his wife, to go in unto her, that she might bring forth children unto the brother's name. Now there was a certain man which had 6 brothers, and when he died, having no children to follow after him, the second brother took the wife to himself. Likewise, the second brother died also, having raised up no children, and the third brother took to the wife the same one, till he also died, bringing forth no children. So was it with the fourth, even unto the last brother, each taking the wife of the first to raise up seed, yet each dying without issue. And at last the woman died also. Therefore, in the life to come, whose wife will the woman come unto the second brother, seeing that she was married to each of them, and in turn. And the Lord answered, saying, You do err among yourselves concerning these things, for you know neither the scriptures nor the power of God. For they which are married according to the laws of men are not bound together in the life to come, but in this life only. For you know yourselves how that in the beginning God joined together both Adam and Eve, and they became as one flesh. For that which God has joined together can no man separate, nor death break asunder. But they which are married after the rudiments of men go not forth into the kingdom of heaven.
They what?
Husband and wife.
They what?
They go not forth into the kingdom of heaven.
But they are what?
But being husband and wife, but are sent forth again unto life seeking.
You see that? You see, they joined together by the rudiments of men. So it's like things have to be considered. We have to consider the fact that we do not have marriages the way God intended them for them to be. The only way you have a marriage the way God intended for it to be is if when you and your mate have an understanding before sex of marriage, and when you come together, this is why when a person lose their virginity, the love is so deep for that individual. They have never been exposed to anybody else. When you got two people who have never been exposed to anybody else and they enter into an act of sexuality, they become one flesh. They have no desire for anything on the outside, and they move through this life as one functional unit together. They are one person. One can answer for the other one. They don't have no arguments, those disagreements, because they are one being and they're sealed in their spirit, and they both move as one functional unit. But when you've been in your life and you've been fornicated, and you've been attached to this person, you've been attached to that person, you've been attached to that person, you've been attached to that person, and you've become familiar with sexuality, and so whether people want to really identify it or not, what's one of the number one reasons why a woman chooses a man? King Rashard, tell me. You got two reasons. You got two things that stand at the top of everything else that make a woman choose a man. What are they?
I'm gonna say money first.
That's one.
And sex.
Okay, but so
How they look.
there you go. There you go. They choose them based on what's pleasing to their flesh. That's only because. But if you took a guy who would be classified as ugly and hooked him up with a beautiful woman, and they were just real good friends, and they was closely connected, and they binded themselves together in sexuality and in marriage, you'll see an ugly dude with a beautiful woman, but there'll be one flesh, one functional being moving through this life.
Right.
See, we don't do marriage like God means for marriage to be. So what we do is that once we get older and we start seeing the ideal of marriage, we don't consider it. We don't even consider what marriage really is. We think that marriage is just going to the altar and finding somebody, and we don't want to identify with the fact that I married this person based on this. I married this person based on that. And the only reason why I'm with this person is because of this. And the only reason why I'm with him is because of that. That ain't God's marriage.
That's right.
We'll get married according to the rudiments of men. Yeah, it's a damn shame, fam. Yeah, it's a damn shame. Yeah, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame that we were never taught these things from the start. But guess what? It's a beautiful thing that as we start learning, we can start dealing with these things and making people to consider what it really is. So let's go back and let's let King Rashard read this story, and we're going to break it down little bit by little bit so we can understand. Because if we don't have marriage like God said, then we have marriage that's after the rudiments of men. That means that we need to find out how we can live our best life with each other together with that understanding. You see? So let's go back and let's read it. Let's break it on down. Come on, Ebonite, Asim, Nazarite, give me Yahoo. I know you're gonna have to have something to roll out there. Because if it was one of the areas, if it was one of the greatest areas of life, if it ever was a mission field that needed missionaries, it's in this area right here. So let's go, King. Let's take off and read it.
Yes, sir. Start. You want me to pick up at chapter 1, verse 1?
I want you to start reading right at the beginning.
Yes, sir. This is chapter 30, verse 1 of the book of Yeshua. It says, "And all Jerusalem spoke the name of Yeshua, for good or for evil, even according to their own hearts. And the multitudes came out from the city daily to hear him. But they which ruled in the temple or governed in the palaces grew uneasy because of him."
Always these religious hypocrites. that think that they got everything down, that they don't want to come face to face with this fact. And you got 5 or 6 wives out here and all that. You ain't got no wives. You ain't got no wives. A lot of these marriages ain't even after the rudiments of men. Because when you start dealing with the rudiments of men, you're talking about govern yourselves according to the laws of the land. Now, how you gonna heap up all of these wives and you ain't downtown nowhere with no signed documents? Some of these things ain't even at the rudiments of men. They're things that take place in our own imagination where we give God whatever we think God wants, or what we make God to go along with whatever it is that we want to do. Go ahead.
I'm going to start back over to it. Says, but they which ruled in the temple or governed in the palaces grew uneasy because of him. For all the people loved him. And all which the master said and taught did the people speak among them.
Now, who are these people? Who are these people that's talking about all these multiple marriages and multiple wives and all that? Who is these people? Who is these people? Are they not your Hebrew Israelites? Are they not those that's dealing with the ancient temple, the way that ancestors done things? Ain't that? Okay, who are these people? Because these people exist in the earth right now today, pushing these things. All right, come on, keep going.
This is, all right, and all which the master said and taught did the people speak among themselves in the synagogues and in the market. And there arose against the Lord in secret chambers a multitude of plots and intrigues, for many conspired to kill him. On a certain day, when Yeshua was again in the city teaching, there came unto him they which were of the Sadducees.
Now, why is it that people hate it when you can bring forth truth? Or people can hate it when you can be honest with where you at for yourself? Why is it that people will hate that? I'll tell you why people will hate that. Because when you can be honest about where you at, where you walking in truth, whether you live up to it or whether you identifying with the fact that you have failed to live up to it, yet you're identifying with it and you being considerate of it, gives you the power that you need to start being an overcomer. Why would people be mad? I'll tell you why. Because they would much rather not overcome any challenges that come their way. They would rather see you fall in the mud so that you can't challenge them to be better than what they are. And this is where these people was at with the Messiah. And they come up with all type of ways to try to create a stumbling block for you. Now, let's see what they did. Let's go.
It says, on a certain day when Yeshua was again in the city teaching, there came unto him they which were of the Sadducees, which believed not in the life after death.
Mm-hmm.
For the Sadducees scorned the traditions and the teachings of the elders.
Mm-hmm.
For they believed with strictness the law of Moses.
See, they believed with strictness the law of Moses, even though Moses didn't have no law. The only way that Moses had a law is because of people's rebellion against the truth when they would come face to face with it. Moses would present people with God's truth face to face, and they hated it and went in rebellion. And as a result of that, Moses started creating things for them to live by. Oh, they wanted to live by Moses' law. Oh, we'd rather live by Moses' law, you know what I'm saying, which really ain't no law at all, than to have to deal with what God is talking about. Shouts out to you, Wendy. Come on, King.
Yes, sir. Picking up at 6, it says, and coming unto the Lord, they took thought, whereby they might ridicule him before the people.
So they want to make him look bad. And just like they want to make you look bad. When you can look in your life and you can say, you know what? This is out of order in my life. You know, this is out of order in my life. Let's take this for instance. Let's say you got a man and you got a woman, and both of them been living their life in all types of madness and foolishness, and you know, and they've been doing that. And then one of them decide to start considering their life. You know, I'm considering my life. You know, I'm tired of doing this. You know, I'm tired of doing that. I'm tired of doing it. Well, one of them ain't tired of doing it. And so the one that ain't tired of doing it, they're going to ridicule you or find any kind of way that they can to stop you from being an overcomer so that they don't have to be challenged in this particular area. So this is where we're looking at. They're doing this to the Messiah. So they're trying to find any way where they might create a stumbling block for him. Go ahead.
It says, coming up to the Lord, they took thought whereby they might ridicule him before the people. They spoke unto him, saying, Master, what think you? For Moses commanded that if a man died, having no children, then should his brother marry his wife, to go in unto her, that she may bring forth children unto the brother's name.
Now, here we're going into a scenario. Here we're going into a scenario that had absolutely nothing to do with the Most High, where marriage was concerned. It had everything to do with the rudiments of men and things that Israel had kept up. Okay, you know you couldn't covet your brother's house. You knew you couldn't covet your brother's wife. You knew you couldn't do none of that. So, you know, you got a law that heaped up that, okay, if man died without children, okay, listen, to let his brother go and sleep with the wife. Well, how do you know the brother ain't been longing to do that all along?
In the first place, right?
And you'd be surprised how many situations that we got like this. And we had some situations like this where one of our brothers passed away and then another one of our brothers won. I said, listen, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. I don't care what you see in this crooked law that ain't law. You can't do that. You see? So here the scenario is that, okay, well, we're going to use the scenario that Moses gave. If a man don't produce children in a wife, and he died before he produced children, now the next brother in line gets the wife. And he dies, and he don't produce children. And then the next one is in line, and he dies. Now, I asked King Rashard a question this morning. Now, I'm going to ask y'all the same question. What do you think will cause a man not to be able to produce children? Not to produce children in a wife? And I want to hear an answer. Y'all put it up there. Y'all can put it up. It ain't but two things. It ain't but a couple of things. We know that abortion can cause a man not to be producing no children if a woman abort the baby. You see? Now, I want to know what would stop a woman from having children with a man. I'm waiting on the answer. Ebonite says a curse. Ebonite says a curse. That means that the woman could be barren. All right, that's one. But what if the woman ain't barren? What's the thing that'll stop? Oh, that we go. Oh, who was that? Who was that? Come on, Dante Baruch Yahoo. He said one thing that'll stop a woman from having children is she ain't giving a man no sex. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about marriage. You can be doing it out of both draw legs, fornicating, and then get married and don't want to give a man the cookies. This woman went through 6 men and none of them produced a child. And I don't believe that it was because she was barren, because if she was barren, then they would have understood that she couldn't produce children in the first place. Therefore, there would be no need for men to continuously keep making her a wife. Hello, somebody. Y'all see the implications there? If a woman ain't giving a man no sex, how can she produce children? And I don't know what the problem is, but this is a frequent problem when we're dealing with marriage. Because when a man gets a woman, he's operating, he said, it's better for you to marry than to burn with passions and lust and to be fornicating. So when a man get a wife, he said, oh, I got it. I can have as much sex as I want. You know what I mean? Hey, you know what? And I'm going to take care of this woman as long as I got a place, boy, to go empty out my frustration and empty out my passions. Boy, I'm going to run through troops and leap over walls for her. But what do when you marry a woman and she don't give you no sex, what frame of mind does that put a man in? You see? And this ideal of marriage brings us into a place to where we think it can be like that on one end, and you still hold on to all of the fruits and all the things that a husband is supposed to be to you. But my passions ain't got no place to go. So let me tell you something, baby. When passion don't got no place to go, it perverts. And to pervert is to deviate away from what was originally intended. And you show me a woman that don't give a man no sex, and I'll show you a man that's going to go and find it wherever he can get it. And you can't be mad.
Oh, man.
So sisters, so the whole key to it, sisters, the whole key to sisters is that if you shut off fornicating, then your bank account of sexuality will be so built up and so stored up that when you get a man to marry you, that stuff will just explode on him. And you know why you ain't got to worry about him cheating? Because you putting so much on him, boy, he ain't even got the strength to look at another woman, let alone he ain't going to get. And I always say to myself, if I was a woman, boy, that Willie would be so wore out, it couldn't even think about looking at another woman. Every time you even think about it, your Willie would just be hurting, because, boy, I'll be knocking that joker down, raise him from the dead, knock him down again, raise him from the dead and knock him down again. This is my toy. I'm playing with him. I'm running on him. I'm jumping up and down on him. I'm doing backflips on it. I'm whatever. It's mine. That's for real though. That's for real. That's how marriages stay together. You see, the vagina is hungry. Period. It's a receiver. It is a receiver. That vagina can eat up 100 men in a day. It can eat up 100 men in a day. It can knock them all down and it still be standing there like, who's next? Where's the next one at? You ain't gonna tell me when you get married that vagina ain't hungry. If I release you from marriage and send you into singlehood, that thing will turn into Seymour. Feed me, Seymour, feed me. Go get me some more. So, let's keep it real. Then you get married and you put a man off to wash clothes and off to do the dishes and off because you tired and off because the TV show on and off all that, and you make it like a man is bothering you. If you make a man feel like that, what you get is not going to be what you want. And believe me, sisters, a man can hold that stuff in for a long time, giving you the benefit of the doubt. But men are just like women. When they had enough, they had enough. They will walk away from your ass. I don't care how great you think you are. They will walk away from you no matter how fine you are. They'll walk away from a fine brick house to go with a chubby, not so good looking woman that'll give them what they need.
10 women and 1 man. 10 women and 1 man.
So you know what? The seven women joining themselves for 1 man, they in trouble. They in trouble because they know 1 man gonna feed no 7 hungry vaginas. It should have been that 7 women was gonna hook themselves up to 100 men, because they know 1 man gonna feed no 7 vaginas. The 1 man, he only need 1 woman that's willing to do what's required of her. So we see. So now let's show you what marriage is in God's standpoint. Because this sister went through 6 men and none of them produced children in her. And she wasn't barren. And the chances of it being 6 men that couldn't produce children through their sperm was slim to none. And so we're inclined to have to look at the fact of non-sexuality. And as I said before, I hear the stories all the time. Man, I ain't slept with my wife in 3 months. Man, I ain't slept with my wife in 5 months. You know? She just don't want to do it. She just don't want to do it. Imagine what that make a man feel like. Make a man feel like he's unwanted. Make a man feel like you don't have no desire for him. But he still got to go to work every day. Still got to pay your bills. Still got to make sure that you're protected. Still got to take care of his manly responsibilities. But the very thing that a sister's supposed to take care of, she finds excuses not to do it. And then you can release that same sister into singlehood, and she'll start going to the gym and start working out and start making herself look good and start doing all that to attract other men that she gonna open up her quiver to. They're not her husband. She couldn't do her husband the same way that she does these other men. I've been married before already. I don't speak by what I think. I speak by what I know. You see? I speak by what I know. So we have to consider some things, because if you feel that way about the man that you with, then why you going to waste his time and why you going to waste his life?
Right.
Why don't you hook yourself up with somebody that you can just walk around the house naked, ready at any given moment? Why can't you find a man like that? Boy, anytime, all he got to do is look at me and these panties are off. Why you can't find a man like that? Because, you know, when a brother get married, he going to be trying to do what he can do to keep his marriage together. And a lot of times women don't understand that when you marry, a man just gave up. He gave up being able to have sex every day to be with you. He had no idea at all that what he was giving up, that he could pleasure himself with every day, was going to be the main thing that was taken away from him. And you expect him not to cheat? That's not even called cheating. So after the 6 men, let's pick up there.
Yes, sir. It says, I'm going to pick up at chapter 30, verse 12. It says, the Lord answered, saying, you do err among yourselves concerning this thing, for you know neither the scriptures nor the power of God. For they which are married according to the laws of men are not bound together in the life to come.
Oh, you see that? So you start talking about being bound together in the life to come. You're talking about doing things God style. They gonna ask the question, whose wife is the woman? After she had married 6 men, whose wife is she? He said, you err in your thought and in your understanding. She's none of you's wife in the afterlife. He said, because they who deal with marriage, they're bound by the rudiments of men in this world that we living in. And if you know that you ain't got no true marriage because you never married the first person that you ever had a sexual encounter with, to understand these things better equips us to be able to live our life together in a way that's conducive to growth of the family and build it in this world that we are living in, rather than just getting married without any understanding. And well, you know what? God expect this of you. God expect this of you. You know what? God expected all of that of both of us before we ever laid down. But when we start fornicating, all that God expectancy, that took wings and flew out the window. The expectancy now, after we have crashed and burned, is to have a better understanding of what marriage is after the rudiments of men. And then we can be considerate of how we view things as individuals and what we expect from the individual that we're going to hook ourselves up with. When a sister get ready to get married, you need to understand that a man's genitalia is the center of his universe. And at the moment that you don't understand that, then you cross off. You void out everything. So he said it was of the rudiments of men. They're bound by the rudiments of men. But they don't have nothing in the afterlife. Come on, keep reading, King.
Yes, sir. It says, start at 13. It says, for they which are married according to the laws of men are not bound together in the life to come, but in this life only. For you know yourselves how that in the beginning God joined together both Adam and Eve, and they became as one flesh. For that which God has joined together can no man separate, nor death break asunder.
You see that? Yo, you promised to do these things, so help you God till death do you part. Well, you know what? That's exactly what it is, because once death do you part, you're going to part ways and go in two completely different directions. Whatever one was in rebellion, you go in your own direction. So it's like you bound together by the rudiments of men, and everybody still got their own idea of how they going to do things. Well, if you don't want me to instruct you, or you don't want to be obedient, or you don't want to take my advice and do what are you with me for?
Right.
Oh, just let us wear our own.
What are you with me for? Because you should consider these things and then go hook yourself up with somebody that you can do these things with. It'll cause us to have a more productive life while we living in this earth. What? Read it again, King.
Yes, sir. It says, for you know yourselves how that in the beginning joined together both Adam and Eve, and they became as one flesh. For that which God has joined together can no man separate, nor death break asunder.
See, no man can separate that. You won't ever find two people that got together and both of them was virgins. You won't ever find one of those people committing adultery. You know why? Because they have never been exposed to anything outside of each other. And things you're not affected by, things that you're not exposed to. Ain't nobody that have never smoked a cigarette gonna be exposed. A cigarette can't do them no harm. They ain't never been exposed to it. You see? They ain't never seen nothing outside of any of that. You'll never see that. Them two, they are going to be one, not only as they move in this world, and the exemplification of what God's going to do in this world causes them to produce children, and then grandchildren, and then great-grandchildren. And these be your people that's sitting there celebrating 85 years of marriage with their kids, with their grandkids, and with their great-grandchildren all around celebrating with great-grandma and them. That's the reward. Because can't no man separate what God joined together. Not even death. Death cannot separate them. When they die as one person, moving through eternity as one being. But those of us who have experienced fornication, that had our spirits corrupted and then hooked ourselves up and got married according to the rudiments of men, baby, when you die, you're dying by yourself. So we best be conscious. The more we consider these things, is the greater that we can live our life in this earth together as a married couple, according to the rudiments of men. And so the rudiments of men, they ask you, do you promise to love and cherish one another? You need to consider that. Because if you can't love and cherish the person that you're ready to be with, if you're marrying for money, you can't do that. You need to consider that. Because you're marrying for money today, and the person might turn around and be broke tomorrow. What's going to keep you together? What's going to bind you according to the rudiments of me and them? Do you promise to love each other for better, for worse? What's good for you today might not be good tomorrow. What's going to keep you together when it ain't good? You see, when you're married for the rudiments of men, you ain't got no security in that. Do you promise to love each other in sickness and in health? One of you going to get sick. But you take two virgins that hook themselves up and bind themselves together in marriage. And when one gets sick, they both sick. There ain't no leaving. Ain't no leaving. Up, down, in, out, crooked or straight. Ain't no leaving. But the rudiments of men. We can see these things in the life that we live in. Our marriages ain't God marriages. That marriage is according to the rudiments of men. You see, when them two virgins get together and they experience sexuality, it is the greatest thing, it is the greatest gift that God ever gave them. And that is their pleasure throughout time. 75 years old, still doing it. Don't need no Viagra, nothing. 80 years old, still get a hard willy. Don't need nothing because you ain't never wasted yourself. That love and that passion for each other is still there, locked and loaded. We ain't never understood these things. So we need to consider things that we have not considered so that we can be able to live our best life together. The man, you know what I'm saying? Man is the head of the family, the instruction giver. Woman is the helpmate. Come alongside and help the man materialize all these things that God means for them to accomplish as a couple in this world. You need to consider that. Ain't no man gonna be telling me what to do. Ain't no man gonna be telling. But what the hell you around me for? If you didn't want to know, if you didn't sign up to be told what to do or instructed, you got the wrong place. You need to find another entity to get molded into. Marriage ain't for you. Because this is just what it is. You know? Man, sign up for that. You got to protect and work and hate not laborious work and take care of your family. What you sign up for if you didn't want to take care of the woman? That's the rudiments of men. See, these two, they're not going to go into the afterlife together. Read it again, King. And we're coming down to the final stretch.
Start back over at 13. It says, but they which are married according to the laws of men are not bound together in the life to come, but in this life only. For you know yourselves how that in the beginning God joined together both Adam and Eve, and they became as one flesh. For that which God has joined together can no man separate, nor death break asunder. But they which are married after the rudiments of men go not forth into the kingdom of heaven, being husband and wife, but are sent forth again unto life seeking.
See, they sent forth on their own. Now, you couldn't obey and you couldn't honor and you couldn't receive instruction from a man while you was on earth. You couldn't receive that instruction. But now you're about to take your journey into eternity, into the unknown, all by yourself, a head without a body. That's fearful. That's fearful. That's fearful right there. See, we're not bound. We're not bound where God means. And, you know, and grant you is that I say all the time is that there's so many things that a person can learn that other people don't know. And when they see you live in your life or operating or your conversation comes out a certain type of way, it makes them do not like it because they don't want to consider their own life. And the average woman that's married, she don't want to consider this. Many times the average brother that's married, he don't want to consider this.
The man in the mirror.
You'll have to consider it. Because, you know, who wants to live the next 40 years of fighting and arguing and pulling from each other? Who wants to live their life like that?
Right.
Nobody want to live their life like that. Hey, look what I told you. Didn't I tell you, King Rashard? I told you this morning. Look what Asim Nazarite Lemio said. Ooh, that's deep. See, I told King Rashard that this morning. I said, King Rashard, and somebody gonna say, that's deep. They'll say it ain't deep, it's simple. It's so simplistic. The problem is that we don't consider it. When we start considering these things, considering, why do I have these issues like this? Why is it like this? You know? You start considering it. Then other things start opening up for you. You can see things for what they really are.
Yes, sir.
Now let's go to the self-proclaimed apostle and just see if we can glean a nugget of wisdom concerning marriage when it comes to the rudiments of men. All right? We're not talking about marriage. We're talking about the rudiments of men versus marriage God style. That's the 7th chapter of 1 Corinthians. For our married couples, our people that's married according to the rudiments of men. When you're married according to the rudiments of men, you know what? You got the capacity to do whatever you want to do with your marriage. But when you're married according to God's standard, there is nothing you can do with your marriage except what God means for it to be. No man can undo it. Not even death itself can do away with it.
That's what it said.
Go ahead, King.
Yes, sir. You want me to start at the first verse?
Yep, start the first verse.
Yes, sir. So this is 1 Corinthians 7th chapter, the first verse. It says, now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto.
Stop right there. See, somebody was considering something. Somebody was considering it because they wrote to this guy trying to get some counsel or some understanding on it. He said, concerning the things that you wrote to me. Here's coming back the answers. Go ahead, read.
All right, he said, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
It's good for a man not to touch a woman. And it's a period there. God said it's not good for a man to be alone. It's not good for a man to be alone. But it's not good for a man to touch a woman unless they entering into this particular place. So keep going.
All right. Picking up at 2, it says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
Now, see, to avoid fornication, most of the reasons why men get married ain't to avoid fornication. I'd rather believe the contrary. I'd rather believe that the fornication that they've been having with the woman before they got married captivated them so to where they wanted to grab the woman and cuff them to herself because they don't want nobody else to experience this.
Right.
But here it tells us to avoid fornication, get married. So these are the two people that come together as virgins. They don't fornicate. And when they desire to be sexual, they hook themselves up in marriage. And they have never been exposed to anybody else. That's God's style. Here, to avoid fornication, men marry. To avoid fornication. Well, most of us have already fornicated. And we find out that fornication is against God, we want to avoid it. So we run to marriage so that we don't no longer fornicate. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Let the husband render unto the wife do benevolence.
That means that the husband got to go in hard and strong, and he got to be ready to satisfy the hungry vagina.
And likewise also the wife unto the husband.
And likewise also the wife, the hungry vagina, got to be ready to eat every time dinner is served. Don't get caught up on what it sounds like. It's true.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. The wife have not power over her own body.
You see that? Ain't no wife got power over her body because you gave me the body when you committed yourself to me. You became mine. Your body now belongs to me. You don't have power over your body. So what woman have the authority to deny a man's sexuality? I know I got some sisters on the line. After reading that, where's your authority come to deny a man's sexuality? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. It says the wife have not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power of his own body.
See, the husband ain't got no power over his body neither. But you don't see men having no problem with their wife doing what they want to do with their body. I don't even make me no difference. You can reach over and you can jerk it 3 times. You can reach over, you can jerk it 300 times. You can play with it. You can slap it around. You can bathe it. You can do whatever you want to do. It's yours. I ain't got no problem with that. I just lay back and I enjoy every moment. Now, how you gonna tell me that I can't do the same thing with what belongs to me? You see? The playing field got to be equal. If you don't want to play with your toys, that's on you. But you can't deny me from playing with mine. Your body belongs to me. If I want to squeeze the nipples, they mine. If I want to smack the booty, it's mine. If I want to inspect it, it's mine. Whatever it is, it's mine. You have no right to deprive me of something that belongs to me, that you gave me. You gave me something, and now you gave me a car for Christmas, but you want to hold the keys and determine when I drive it. You see? But see, when we marry after the rudiments of men, we do whatever the hell we want to do. And we don't even consider the fact that we throwing what God means for us to do out the window. And that's the part that's dangerous. Because when you ain't considering how God viewing a thing, now we got a problem. Keep going, King.
Yes, sir. It says, defraud you not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempts you not for your end.
The only time that there should be no sexuality between a husband and wife is when you both agree that this thing is so pleasurable and passionate for us that we're going to fast this moment. We're going to sacrifice. Well, we could be over there humping and sweating and doing all that. We're going to put that on the back burner so that we can go to the Most High and fast and pray for the things that we need done in our house. That's the only excuse you got. Don't come telling me about I'm tired from a job. Go quit it. Quit the job. You got all day. You lay around the house all day. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Don't come telling me all this stuff you got to do. You can do it when I get through with you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Do it when I get through with you. You want to wash the clothes? You want to do all that? Clothes will be there. The clothes, wash machine, all of it will be there. Bend over. Let's do what we do. And then when I get through, then you can go on down there and wash the clothes. You know what I mean? If you're tired, that's all right. Just lay on down, and I'm going to soothe you, and then I'm going to make sure you get an even better sleep. It said, defraud not each other. And it's the same thing with a man. A man don't defraud your wife. Because if you defraud your wife, she going to cheat on you. She going to cheat faster than you do. Because the hungry vagina mandates it. It got to be fed. She gonna cheat, and most people don't want to identify with the fact that women cheat far more than men. It says, and come together again, lest Satan tempt you for your lack of incontinency. That means your lack of self-control, because it's God that gives a man and a woman their sex drive. That's God that does that. And no man or no woman has power over their sex drive to contain it. That's why he gives them each other. Because if he don't give them each other in marriage, they don't have power to contain their sex drive, so they'll fornicate. And he said, if you ain't giving your husband his due benevolence and you ain't giving your wife due benevolence, I don't want to hear that mess about he cheated on me. It's a reason why he cheated on you.
Right.
It's a reason why he cheated on you.
Right.
You was giving it to him 3 times a week. He wanted it 6 times a week. So he compensated for the other 3 days.
Don't put your husband or your wife aside.
So that's what it is. So it's the same thing, either way you put it.
Don't set your husband aside.
Either way you put it.
He run out the door.
So, we're talking about God's style of marriage, and we know, most of us know, we don't meet up and we don't line up with God's style of marriage. Ain't no 2 becoming 1 once we done fornicated. But now that we understand that, we can consider what it is that will be more suitable for us to live with while we live in our life. So man, got to choose somebody. You got to choose a woman that's, got heightened senses in those areas, that got the same type of movement as you, that you got life rhythm together, and you can choose the best that you can. And you still only gonna come close at best. You're not gonna get the real thing. We voided the real thing when we fornicated. And so it's the same thing for the sister. You got to consider what you choosing. And you choosing based on money, or based on how somebody look, or based on all this foolish stuff. You got to consider these things now, and you got to make the right choices. And for those of us that are already married, we got to consider what we have to do as a couple to make our lives better with each other. Since we already enter into the act, and we're bound by the rudiments of men. So I hope that somebody got something out of this little message. And well, I know every message ain't no easy one to swallow. You know what I'm saying? You think you got a soulmate. You ain't got no soulmate. Shit, if y'all both die together, y'all gonna be looking at each other parting ways. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Lost in space. Lost in space. Shit. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing that we can do is we can live the best way that we can according to the rudiments of men, and have the love for each other as God means for us to have while we live in our life, so that whatever transpires in the life to come, we will have something good to look forward to. So like I said, man, ain't gonna nothing be wrong with, nothing won't be worse than that rebellious woman that don't want to do. God say, hey, look, a man gonna have rule over you. You're gonna be obey your own husband. That's what God said. And when you spent your whole life being rebellious against the one that God gives to you as instructor, you've hurt yourself. You've hurt yourself, because when it's time to part ways of this life, you're going to desire and hope and pray that you had that man right there. You knew he was good. You knew he meant well. You knew he was giving you good counsel, but you wanted to be like mom and them. It was too much right for you to do what somebody instructed you to do. But when you out there all alone and you ain't got no defender, no protector, nobody to lead the way for you, it's a scary thing. So like I say, peace and blessings be upon all the brothers and sisters. This is indeed a great day to be alive. Day the Most High Heavenly Father made. We should rejoice and be glad in it.